Hello, everybody. This is Danielle Hayden with the Hayden Group and Keller Williams Ann Arbor, and I would like to walk you through the Keller Williams Ann Arbor Market Center template for a listing contract, okay? So we're going to go and make use of the templates that have been shared with all Keller Williams Ann Arbor agents. We're going to show you how to go in and pull that template, change it in the back end as an admin, change it in your email as a listing agent, and how to proceed through getting that puppy signed and taken a listing. Let's do this. Okay, everybody, welcome. We are going to demonstrate for you how easy the process is to go ahead and start a room for Sally Seller's listing using our current Keller Williams Ann Arbor Market Center templates for listing documents. Okay, so here we go. Sally Seller, here's her listing opportunity. We're going to go ahead and click there. All right, and then what I want you guys to do is go over to documents, and this is going to say start a transaction for you because I've already used this button. It now says go to transaction. Okay, when you hit start a transaction here, it's going to ask you to designate the listing agent, and I've already done that process. So here we are in Docusign rooms. The first thing I like to do is go over to details and see what information has been brought over regarding this home. So we've got Sally Seller, phone number, email address, okay, Mr. Seller, no other information, okay, and then listing agent. And some of this information I can tell you right now I would like to change. So you click edit, and now you may start to change some information here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually change this to an email address that actually exists that I have access to, so I can show you what it's like to go ahead and sign. Same thing here. I'm going to make sure that I put in proper information so that I can show you what it's like to sign. This is the Market Center phone number, so somewhere along the way that got put in as our business phone, which is no big deal, but I actually have different phone numbers that I want to show up here. All right. Alrighty. We don't have a listing agent number 2, and because it's just the listing paperwork, we actually do not have, we're going to save, we do not have buyer information either. So that's all we're going to put in for right now, okay? Then I want you to go ahead and ignore documents and people. I want you to go straight over to envelopes, okay? The way I want you to think of an envelope is if you literally had to mail your documents per signing event, if you had to mail them to your clients, what would be inside of that manila envelope? Okay, this is how I want you to think of it. So you're going to have one for taking a listing. You're going to have one for negotiating a contract. If you're representing buyers, you're going to have one for buyer agency, and then you're going to have one once it's offer time. Every time you have a change to the contract, like an addendum or a notice of objection, you're going to create an envelope. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit new. And this is going to be listing contracts. Okay, and we're going to use a template. We're going to go to shared with me because that's where the Market Center has put all of the shared templates that the agents now have access to. We do have all of these individual documents. However, what I would really like to do is just see the listing packet as a whole. So let's see what we can find. Listing change agreement. Okay. As you can tell, this is the first time I'm doing this. So I wanted to demonstrate to you guys what it's like the first time you're in and you're trying to get used to it. So I'm assuming that this is going to be the best bet here. AAA BOR listing package, add selected. Let's see what comes through, folks. Okie dokie, folks. So this is what we've got here. We've got a ton of paperwork now for them to fill out. Next, we're going to add recipients, and we're going to go with pre-tagged roles. You should only see 3 roles here. If you see more than 3 roles, then the roles assigned to one of these documents is mislabeled and is creating a duplicate role. Some, listing agent, it would say like listing agent 1 written out and listing agent number 1. Those would show up as 2 different roles. So you want to make sure you're always using the same language when you put roles into templates. So here we go. We're going to pick me. We're going to pick Sally. We're going to pick Mr. Add selected. Give it a minute to load. What we're going to do is we're going to set the signing order for these people. All right. They all need to sign. The listing agent's going to get it first. Then seller 1 and seller 2 will get it at the same time. And then I'm actually going to add via email address for the 3rd round. I'm going to add my admin. It's going to just be CC'd at the end. Okay. So what I want you to remember is that it's going to go to the listing agent for review and for signing. Then it's going to kick out to Sally and Mr. who both need to sign. And then once they sign, the documents will be completed. Every signer, including myself, are going to get a completion email with PDFs of each individual document that they can keep for their records. And Mariah will also receive a copy at the end, alerting her that we are ready to go to enter the listing in the MLS. All right. You can change your subject here to anything that you like. Please. All right. So just to review, we named the envelope, we brought in the templates, okay? And then we added recipients using pre-tagged roles and through our admin on the end through email, okay? We changed admin to receives a copy, we set the signing order, and then we edited the email subject and the message. Next, we hit next. All right, so the Market Center has already gone through and put in default information for us here in the listing packet. So we should hopefully not have to change all that much. I know folks are using zip forms to sort of pull in information about the property instead of relying on it to get pulled from the detail section of the room. I still need to get to know zip forms a little bit more, but from my understanding, it's really not pulling in all that much more than we've already got this set up to do. So over here, I want to show you, you can collapse and see all of your documents. You can go to any one document. You can scroll through to see where the signing fields are and go ahead and go straight to that page, okay? All right, so let's go back up to the top. We're going to start at the very beginning. Okay, so nothing on this page you can see because there's no yellow tag or anything. Yellow is the listing agent, okay? Blue is Sally Seller and purple is Mr. Seller. So here we go. There's something here for the listing agent. Well, they're just referring to these check boxes which have already been checked for you. Seller's agent, designated agent. Okay, great. Next thing we can do is sign and it will auto-populate this date. So if you notice, these are required fields when they show up as filled with color. If you take required fields off, it actually goes to see-through with just the colored border. Okay. Likewise, you're going to see text boxes. And if the text in it is black, that is an auto-populated field. Okay. That's pulling from this side. If you see gray text like this, it's a required field. However, it is not auto-populated. Okay. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Let's actually hold off a second. We're going to go back. And at the very least, what I'm going to do is put in the property address in the details section because I am realizing that it did not pull into a field that I was under the impression it would. So we're going to go to edit, okay, address 456 East Main Street, Manchester, Washtenaw, Michigan, 48158, residential detached, 1900. Okay, let's just see how much of that actually populates now. All right, so we're going to go back to envelopes. We're going to go back into this envelope, which we had drafted, and we're going to go back in and see if anything new pulls. All right, there we go. Listing contract. Let's head over here. It did not pull this information in. I know on some of the forms it does, but for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and. So right now, the way I like to see what I'm doing is I like to view this as what an admin would be doing on the back end. Okay. Now it did pull in property address here. Okay. So it's just the one field at the beginning that is not auto-populating. All right. So we're going to go back. Okay. So seller, full name and full name, this would be Sally. Okay. And then this would be Mr. And notice it's black text. So again, that's going to auto-populate. This is not a required field because we don't need to stop for fields that are going to never really change. This is just how our brokerage appears. So we can fill this in on the back end. You can change it if you want. Right? But you don't want to get stopped at all the fields while you're signing off and ratifying everything if it's not necessary. Okay, we did make this a required field. It does auto-populate. Great. If you don't want to get stopped here, you can just uncheck it. That way, when you're signing as the listing agent, it'll just breeze right past that. However, if I'm having my admin do this, I leave it required because I want to verify that there's no typo there before I send it over. So 2 sets of eyes. Okay, insert expiration date. I'm going to leave this blank just so you can see what it looks like on the back end when I sign it as a listing agent. Insert listing price. We are going to, I think I said 250,000. Okay. All right, please notice that these right here are assigned to Sally Seller. They are required fields. This is striped because it is conditionally formatted on these radio buttons. If you need more information for that, I suggest you watch the video called How to Make Market Center Templates. That goes through this trick here about how to set this up so that when you trigger no, this field becomes mandatory. Okay, it's called Conditional Logic, and that video will walk you through that. The other thing that I want to point out is recipients can collaborate on this portion. This right now is assigned to Sally Seller, but if Mr. Seller or the listing agent wanted to make a change, they potentially could. Okay. All right, inclusions. So this always says any and all keys associated with the property. And then we can also insert here. If I know there are no appliances going with it, then I can uncheck this so that it's not required anymore and just take that out, and then we're good to go. If this stays required and you take out that portion, it's going to make you enter something in this field when you're the listing agent. Let's just go ahead and put in here washer and dryer. Okay. Again, this is, people can collaborate, okay? So if your client wants to take out dryer later when they get the paperwork, they can do that. Default information here was set by Latanya. This is going to be a typical transaction, so I am just going to say here 6% of the sales price. Okay. All right, we've got sets of initials that are required that are set to our buyer and our seller. 0% towards a sub-agent, 50% of the commission towards the transaction coordinator or buyer's agent. Please note that these are optional fields. The reason why is because if this were to be mandatory, you'd have to fill in something here, and you've already got it covered here. So those are just set to optional for right now. This will bring in the full name of the listing agent. Okay. Latanya Keith is our supervisory broker. Default, this is an optional field here. Latanya goes to 0 with her default. I go to 25%. Okay. All right. This is language that we decided to go ahead and include because of the current executive order. We wanted to make sure that we had documentation, that we informed our sellers that we are a bit limited right now in terms of the methods that we can assist them in selling their home, and that it might be in their best interest to assist us in virtual tours at some point. Okay. All right. And then this will all auto-populate except for social security number and telephone. Please note that these are required fields for the client to fill in. And if you take a look over here at validation, this must be a social security number. If they do not enter in a proper social security number, it will be able to tell us that. Okay. All right. Here we go. So just so you know, what you could potentially do here is align these boxes. We go over this tip in making market center templates as well, so you can take a look at that video for more information. But if you see, we just drag and highlight those 4, and then we align, and that just makes it look so much nicer. Okay. All right, so these are all required buttons, radio buttons for the sellers to fill out. So it's assigned to Sally Seller. Recipients can collaborate. They must only pick one of the buttons in each of these 4 groups. So just so you have an idea, what we had to do basically was copy and paste to create all these different groups of buttons. These are conditionally formatted text boxes. This becomes mandatory should they click on yes. Okay. These are optional and assigned to the client. You can see because it's surrounded in blue instead of yellow. So the only thing in yellow on this entire form would be the address, which we on the back end populate for them. Okay. This could not be conditional on multiple buttons. You can only make it conditional on one button. So we couldn't format this to trigger this field. With that said, that's why we did put a do not skip note. And in fact, they're both assigned to Sally Seller, which means Mr. Seller is not actually going to see that note unless we change this. Okay. So the notes only show up for the person that, that matches the color. Okay. So they can collaborate on these fields. They do not require initials because if they start making changes every which way, you're going to have a lot of initials on this form. So we decided not to make them require initials on this. These are validated to be dates. Okay, I'm pretty sure. Yep, dates. All right, and let's keep going. Okay, lead-based paint disclosure. This was a tricky form for us to format because these check boxes are not, most of the time they're not mandatory. You cannot set a checkbox to be mandatory, okay? We have seen mention of a tool in Docusign called checkbox validation, where you can say that they must check at least one or exactly one checkbox. However, that tool seems to come and go. I wonder if there are bugs and the Docusign folks are pulling that functionality in and out as the bugs appear and get fixed. So I would err away from checkbox validation as much as possible. Put notes in if you have to use checkboxes to remind the clients not to skip it. And if it is a situation where it's mandatory and they have to select one option and cannot select more than one, use radio buttons. Okay, so if they check no, then that will trigger some of these fields. And if they check unknown, it will trigger some of these fields. I don't know if you can see, but we actually have two sets of initials here and two sets of initials here. And then we have 4 radio buttons, 2 blue and 2 purple on each of those. The reason why is because you cannot make a field conditional on more than one trigger. So if they hit no, it needs to trigger a field over here. And if they hit unknown, it needs to trigger another field over here. So we had to put 2 sets for each signer. Okay, and then we had to allow for collaboration. So you'll see what this looks like when we go through the signing process. All right. Okay, residential profile sheet. We chose to only make radio buttons mandatory on this form. Even though this is all mandatory information, you can really get caught up in this form if you have to keep hitting next, 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 because every field is required. So we went ahead and just said that these are optional boxes, and the admin is going to fill out as much as they possibly can on the back end. And if they can't find something, then the listing agent's not going to be able to find that information either. So we went ahead and we're just going to, if they cannot find something, they're going to go ahead and just assign this to Sally Seller as a required field, so that when it gets sent to the client, if the listing agent and the admin have failed to gather that information, the seller will be required to furnish it. What I would also do here is say recipients can collaborate, so that an admin can go through, and if in the off chance the listing agent does know the answer to that question, they have an opportunity to fill this in the required field before it does get to the client and force them to fill it in. So that just shows you some of the functionality here. I'm actually going to turn this right back to Danielle and take out required field. Okay, I went ahead and just had these checkboxes eligible for the seller to fill out. You only have to fill them out if it is Ann Arbor School District. Now, with that said, they're not going to see these checkboxes unless they're, the checkboxes are validated. These are all checkboxes. They're not mandatory, and you can check more than one, whereas this is a radio button. You have to pick either yes or no. If you pick yes, it's going to trigger these boxes here. All right. This is assigned to the client. And so the client, if the client picks yes for homeowners association, it's going to make them fill these fields out. And remember, if you put a note and you want both clients to see it because they're able to collaborate on this area, you have to have a note per person. Okay. All right. Payoff authorization. These are mandatory fields for Sally Seller, and recipients can collaborate. So if Mr. Seller's the one that has this information, the worst case scenario is that Sally would have to write something in here before Mr. Seller goes in, because it won't let her finish signing if she doesn't fill out a required field, but he can go back in later and just tighten it up. This right here only appears for the listing agent. And it says these fields are required, so you do not skip this document. Please write NA. So we actually need to change this to Sally and to Mr. Okay, so that they appear for that person as well. All right, this is optional so that it doesn't force them to do second mortgage information unless they have it. And my tip for you is move date signed down below, because it is rather a long timestamp and you don't want it to interfere with their social security number text field. And this is validated social security number. All right, full name, signature, and date. We're good to go on this. So as you can see, really, the vast majority of things are already filled out. It's just the residential condo profile sheet, which there's just really no way of getting around that. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to take it away. Okay. All right, here we go. So home warranty, this is for the seller side because it's for listing. So it's going to populate their full name and their email. They will have to put in their phone number here. I personally like a little note I like a little note that just says phone number. Okay. And the reason why is because this form in particular, for some reason, here, let's turn this down to 7 and then change it to bright red. For some reason on this form, they get real confused, and if they're not paying attention, they'll go ahead and put their email instead. So we're just going to make things easy for them. Copy and paste. I'm going to layer it on there, and then I'm going to transition this one over to Mr. Seller. Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. We don't have any buyer information yet. All of this is pre-populated. That's fine. Oh, this right here, Ryan Hilburn will need to change in the market center. Oh no, it pulled this in from my details. Okay, cool. All right, closing date. This is validated. No, it's not. So let's put date there, okay? And then listing date. Let's put date there. Okay, cool. All right, this right here, we do need to tighten up the market center template a little bit. So we're just copying and pasting and making sure that the note is going to show up for both of these folks. Okay, the other thing that I'm going to do is, this is an optional signature. You see how it's not actually completely filled in with color. This is a conditional signature. If they fail to sign here, they must sign here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste. Okay, drag it down here, and then I'm going to change this one to Mr. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this because it's the trigger, and I'm going to create a rule under conditional logic, and I'm going to say when it's unsigned, this becomes mandatory. Got it? So it was a required field, and then I applied conditional logic. Now it's only a required field if this goes unsigned. Okay, all of this right here is conditional upon these signatures being triggered. So if someone does sign here to enroll, it will kick in all of these fields. Okay, and these should be able to be collaborated. Yep, perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. So we've got property address. I'm actually going to move this down to a 7 so it doesn't start to take up too much room. And then that's all ready to go. This is a new listing. Oh, listing address didn't populate here. So you can see, oh, you know, the market center templates have come a long way, but we still have a little bit. Oh, and this is going to auto-populate. Still have a little ways to go here. So appointment type, you can go ahead and fill these out on the back end. You go to radio button values, and I know this is going to be a vacant property, so we're actually going to say, and it's going to take me a second to figure out which button this is there, and we're actually going to say it's a show and go. Okay, exclusive showings only. These are just our defaults. Okay, remember to check boxes. This is a note to Sally. This is a note to Mr. Because check boxes are not required fields, so they can very easily miss them. It will remind them to do the radio buttons, but not the check boxes. All right, everything here is going to auto-populate. I did put my cell phone number on this sheet because I kind of don't want to rely on them calling the office if it has to do with the showing and they need assistance. All right, we added a few pieces of information to this sheet on our own. We want to know if they have pets. If yes, this becomes mandatory. What kind, what number, instructions for showings, alarm, yes or no. These are radio buttons. All right, and then we've got garage door. Do you want it left, locked, or unlocked? All right, guys, I think we have filled out everything except for the residential condo profile sheet, okay, which I guess we'll just fill out as the agent. So we're going to hit send. Okay, it's going to take you back to the room. It's going to show you that it needs your signature. This is what it looks like after you've completed preparing the documents and you've hit send. Now, when it is done, it will show up green and say completed. All right, we're going to select this email, review the documents. Awesome. So this is what it looks like for round 1, which is the agent. All we do is sign. Okay, we're validating the address. Yes, awesome. Their names populated here. Now I have to insert expiration date, right? I wanted to show you this on this end because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Awesome. The 31st is a Saturday. I really don't want to work on Saturday the 31st, so we're going to pick Friday the 30th. Okay, this is for the seller to fill out. All right, any and all keys associated with power, washer, and dryer. Oh, we forgot refrigerator. Awesome. All right, 90 days, 6% of the sales price. Great job, admin. You did a nice job. Over here, We're going to sign. We're going to validate that that's the address. Yes, 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 cool. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Now, residential condo profile sheet. If I wanted to, as the agent, I could fill this out on this end. Okay. Now, radio buttons. Notice these are required and you can only pick one. Tax record. And again, your admin can do all of this on the back end before you even get it in your email if you wanted to. Is it new or under construction? If you were to hit yes here, it would then pop up and mandate these fields. We're going to hit no. You can pick as many of these as you want. 1 gas fireplace, yes, a garage, 2 spaces, right? So this is how you would fill this form out. All right, ownership, private, yes, 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 yes. No, it is not a short sale. Okay, don't forget your financing, MISHDA, conventional cash, FHA, awesome. Okay, anything you want to add here, optional, site condo, no. Homeowners association, no. If it said yes, now all of these fields pop up, but they are optional to me. So let's just leave this be really quick. Oh, you can't unselect radio, so let's just hit yes and then leave it be. Okay. Yes, we're validating the address. Great, awesome, thank you. Phishing scam alert, thank you. This is a little messy. Admin didn't catch it, so we're just going to copy and we will put that information down there. All right, it needs to know when this property is going to list, May 1st. Fantabulous. Okay, this one. Oh, I wonder if these boxes are all connected to one another. So if I augment it in one, it augments all of them. Yes, sirree Bob. So what that means is we can just make this field not mandatory anymore. Okay, for right now, I'm going to put a little dash, but this is interesting. If your MCA field maps and brings all of this, these property fields together, then changing one of them will change all of them. That's fascinating. Didn't realize that. All right, so it looks to me like we are done. Please note the only thing not in here is the data sheet, the America's Preferred Home Warranty data sheet, which needs to be thrown in here. So you could create your own listing package template and throw that in there, or you can just manually add it each time you send listing documents. I currently have a note into our MCA to just go ahead and throw it into the template. All looks good to me. These are required, but they're not required for me. Okay, finish. Now we're going to go in and see what this looks like from the client perspective. Boop. Okay. All right. We're going to sign. Yes, cool. All right. These are required for me now. Am I the sole owner of the property? Yes. Am I current in all obligations? Yes. Am I in bankruptcy? No. Are there legal proceedings pending which could impact the sale of the property? Let's just for fun hit yes. Oh, look. Let's just put probate. Okay. All right. Now, this is showing up as red because it's a field that we can all collaborate on that I made changes to. So I can go back in here now as Sally Seller and say, we're not getting rid of our fridge. We're going to keep it. Okay. So that's the benefit of being able to set some of these fields for collaboration. They can discuss and make these changes without holding up you sending the listing paperwork or having to resend it. All right. So all this looks good. Sure. I will sign my life away. Here we go. Okay. And you want my social. No one try to steal this. It's not a real one. Should I put my mom's phone number here? Okay, here we go. So we're just going to go ahead for ease and mark yes on most of these. For fun, we'll just say we don't have any of those and we're not sure about those. Okay, so Sally does have to fill these out. However, Mr. can come behind her and change something. Okay, so let's just say roof leaked in 2016 and then was fixed or whatever. Okay, basement, evidence of water. Yes, now this is mandatory. So nope, nope, nope. Yes, now this is mandatory. Alrighty. All right, so we're just gonna hit no on most of these. If you did hit yes, unfortunately, it won't trigger this field, which is what we wanted, but it just doesn't work that way. We couldn't conditionally format it, which is why you see a note that says do not skip. If the answer to any of these questions is yes, please explain. What did I answer yes to? Outstanding. Yep. Okay. Utility bills have not been paid due to probate. Okay. We'll just make something up here. All right. These are dates. Awesome. Let's just say they lived there then to then. Okay. They've owned the property since then. Cool. Now, it shot me all the way down here. So this is a problem. And I guess I'm confused because these did not used to be checkboxes. I don't know at what point they got changed. They need to be radio buttons. So I'll go back and change that. But these should be required fields. If they hit no, it should trigger. Okay, so it should trigger initials as well as these radio buttons. Unfortunately, this is not formatted correctly, so I will go back and change it. But these should be radio buttons where you can only select one. And then these probably were not check marked required before they were conditionally formatted. So that's the only issue there. Okay. I'm actually not convinced that radio buttons are the answer to this problem, but I'll do a little research and figure out what works and just look for my update. I'll post it in the comment section. Alrighty, sign, sign, sign. Cool. All right, so we got stopped here. This is a section that is now required for the client. So yes, there's a homeowners association fee, website, phone number, email, period, annually. Okay, you must select at least one. Oh, this says once, so this is something we need to fix, but you must select at least one of the above checkboxes in each column if an HOA. All right, so we're going to check none there, but you get an idea. And these could afford to be aligned a little bit. I'm going to send these back to the MCA with notes so we can make them perfect. So let's just pretend these people don't have a mortgage. Okay. That's the only way they're getting through that form. Scam alert. Okay. What does it want from me? Oh, it wants my phone number. Okay. Thank you for clarifying. Okay, so you can see that they're being prompted to do two things here. And if they have questions about it, these notes help out, definitely. All parties must sign here to enroll. One party must sign here to waive. Let's just pretend that the person doesn't know what to do and wants to just keep going forward. They can sign here. They can enter their phone number here. Okay, cool. They have to select one of these. And then they can go next. But if you notice, when they click next, they're going to notice there's a note here. Remember to check boxes. What boxes? Oh, they must be these. I'm the owner and occupant. I would like a text message and an email, but not a phone call. Text message and email, but not a phone call. That's perfect. Thank you. Okay. A required lead time. 2 hours at least, but I would love 24 hours. That would be great. Do I have pets? Yes. I have an American Bulldog. One, and will not be home for showings. Cool. Alarm? Yes. If I hit yes, now I have to enter the disarm codes. Okay. Interior of home by garage entry door. Okay, cool. Do you want the garage door left locked or unlocked? I want it left unlocked because I don't have a key to that one. Okay, so it's going to make you go through and verify that you've done these things. It should kick us back up to the warranty. See, perfect. Okay, so it's saying this is required. If you're not going to sign to enroll, you've got to sign to waive. Okay, let's sign to enroll just so you can see. They must choose one of these. They must choose one of these. Okay, and they may choose any of these. If they choose one of these, they then have to enter in the information. So we've got $425 for the plan, $85 for the option. $425. And remember, this is being filled out by the client, so it saves you some work and it gives them time to digest. Okay. All right, now we should be able to hit finish. And Mr. Seller is now going to go in and sign. I have to admit, y'all, it's been really nice and fun doing all these demos, and I'm so glad that I don't have any more to shoot. This is my last one. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go Of course, no sooner do I say that than we hit a snag. The email was not arriving in Mr. Seller's inbox. So I went digging and I figured out what the problem was. And so now I get to demonstrate to you how to fix it. Into rooms. Okay, and this is Sally Seller's listing. We're going to go into envelopes and it says waiting for others. Seller 2 needs to sign. I'm going to resend because seller 2, oh, whoopsie. Correct. Okay, so I am going to need to correct this because that is not the proper email. Send. All right, here we go. Wow, cool, thanks, I agree, awesome. All right, there we go. Let's take a look. What was that? Oh, yep, okay, I agree with that, cool. This all looks good. Okay, what do you want from me? You want my social and my telephone number. All right. Oh, I missed a signature. Okay, let's see what my wife did. Oh, she was wrong about that. Okay, cool. Yep, we're good to go here. This all looks great. Oh, we need a note here. So we'll put a note on the template here that just says, don't miss, these fields. Cool. All right, all of this is correct. See, this note helps out a lot. So we'll have to put one here for checkboxes. Okay. Okay, so now it's saying you must check one. So we'll have to go in and see, or you know what it was? Sally Seller, she checked here, and now there's also a checkbox here for Mr. And now it's going to mandate, it did mandate Mr.'s initials. It just didn't do it for Sally. So we're definitely going to have to go in and figure out what's going on with that formatting. All right. We are on our way. Do we agree with everything? Yep, we do. Okay, I need to sign and put my social. Sign. Okay, what's it want? It wants my phone number. All right. And Sally signed here, so I guess I better. Okay, it's my mobile. And what's this say? Remember to check boxes. Okay, thanks for telling me. All right, looks like I can finish. There you go. Okay, so just so you know what this looks like, once your clients finish, everybody is going to get this email. It's coming in a second. You're going to get emails when they go into the envelope and start viewing things. And then you should get an email at the end. You and your admin, who you added on to the tail end as a CC, will get an email with the completed documents. And just to show you what it looks like now, if you refresh, this should say completed. There we go. Okay, so you click on this and it's got all the different PDF documents right here at the bottom. Okay. The other thing that is available, if you go into the room and you go into documents, all your documents are now here signed, and there is a PDF certification that shows how many, signatures and initials and pages, when they went in, what email they used, blah, blah, blah. And it says Mariah was copied on here. So that is a really helpful piece of paper to have. All right. Okay, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope you learned a little bit. You even got to see some of the ways in which our Market Center templates still need to be tweaked. So I'm going to send this video over to my MCA, and we're going to work together to tighten that up so that we've got some really rock star paperwork. If you liked this video, you want to learn a little bit more about the high level things, I suggest you go ahead and look at the one about creating Market Center templates. And also there is a video taking you through the drafting an offer, a sales contract. And that one's really fun too. So enjoy. I hope you and your Market Center have a really successful journey setting up things on Docusign, and we'll talk soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. I have several other videos that take you through our current Market Center templates, whether it is for buyer agency, drafting a sales offer. So make sure you check out the other videos on our channel regarding templates so that you can see how we set them up and why we set them up, as well as what it looks like from the admin perspective, the agent perspective, and the client perspective in terms of drafting, modifying, and signing these agreements. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and toggle the bell for instant notification for content just like this.